Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. It's a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV, and there's some breaking news. Let's go to Frank Morano.
Well, very interesting, John. We're just seeing that the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, said that President Trump ordered him to allow Eddie Gallagher, Chief Eddie Gallagher, to keep his Navy SEAL trident and retain his elite status. I'm not sure why this is much of a surprise, since the president tweeted about exactly this days ago. And that's why he said he was surprised about Secretary of the Navy Richard Spencer, who's now resigned, having conversations that went a different direction and undermining the chain of command.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, it looks like the president got what he wanted.
Yeah,
which is
exactly
the most important thing. And that's what Bernie Kerik was basically fighting for.
Let's ask him.
We have with us an integral part of the Eddie Gallagher defense team, former New York City Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik. Good morning, Commissioner. Good afternoon.
How are you guys?
How are you?
Good.
So what does this all mean? I think justice is done right back to the guy being restored to the honor he deserves.
Well, I think that's a part of the issue. There's a much bigger issue here, and that's the targeting of Eddie Gallagher from the beginning. That's a command that was involved in unethical and criminal conduct and corrupt conduct that led to his arrest, to Navy prosecutors that spied on the defense team, to a number of different things that should have been stopped early on, including, they charged Eddie Gallagher with a murder that they in fact knew. And if they didn't know, which I believe they did, but if they did not know that he didn't do it, when they found out he didn't do it in open court, when a medic said, "I killed the terrorist, not Eddie Gallagher," at that point, this whole case should have been thrown out. But Navy prosecutors and the command, Colin Green, a rear admiral in charge of Navy Special Warfare, pursued Eddie like he was some kind of mass murderer. He was acquitted of all charges with the exception of taking a photo with a dead terrorist detainee, and there were 10 other people in that photo. On Friday, the president restored Eddie Gallagher's rank to Chief Petty Officer, and immediately after he did that, Eddie was notified that he was going to go before the Trident Review Board to take his trident, his SEAL designation, away from him. There were 10 people in that photo. If they were going to do that, they could have done it immediately after the trial, and they should have done it to everybody that was in the photo. They targeted Eddie Gallagher. They harassed him because he had the audacity to exercise his constitutional rights and go to trial, and he annihilated the government and exposed their corruption. So at the end of the day, I think what happened with Gallagher in the end and the president's intervention, we couldn't be more thankful for. But I think the commander of special warfare has to go. I think the sub-commanders that were involved in this and the prosecutors, they have to be held accountable. I think there's a number of things that has to be done to ensure that we inspire and motivate the people that we send to war and combat for us, that we're going to be there to support them and not target them for nonsense.
Commissioner, you had a column that just broke on Newsmax about a half hour ago in which you're calling for the Navy SEAL commander to be dismissed. Tell us why he bears the responsibility for what happened to Eddie Gallagher.
Because ultimately, Frank, he was responsible for this entire thing. He was responsible for pursuing, targeting, harassing, having undue command influence on the people around Eddie Gallagher, sending sub-commanders out to roll calls and out to supporters of Gallagher's to tell them, stay away from him. He's guilty. Don't go near him. And then basically harassing anybody that did. This is not the way the system is supposed to work. That's not a system of justice. He interfered with the prosecution. He interfered with the case. Shouldn't be in charge. He should be dismissed, and they need a commander that's going to take care of the men and women that work for them and not try to destroy them.
And Commissioner, the president's detractors seem to have two big problems with his handling of the Eddie Gallagher case and the other recent pardons from last week or 2 weeks ago. The first problem they seem to have is that by allowing Chief Gallagher to go unpunished for disrespecting the corpse of this terrorist, it will allow American troops to be mistreated in other foreign theaters abroad. The other thing we often hear is that by going around the traditional naval mechanisms of doling out discipline, he's undermining the very important naval hierarchical structure. What do you say to both of those?
Okay, well, first of all, those critics, they should look at the chain of command. The chain of command is the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief and the ultimate convening authority over and above every commander in the United States military. So that argument's out. The second argument, now I lost my train of thought.
Well, it's about that by allowing troops to disrespect the corpses of terrorists or enemy combatants, it allowed American troops to be mistreated when they're overseas.
Well, let's talk about the punishment, Frank. You know, they're complaining about removing the trident, that he should have been allowed or demoted and the trident removed. Eddie Gallagher was arrested, thrown in solitary confinement without justification. They conjured up some death threat that on the stand had to admit never happened. That's why they put Eddie in solitary confinement. They demoted him from E8 to E7. They took his Silver Star. There was this consistent punishment. He spent 10 months in detention before the president had to actually get him out so that the defense team could talk to him. That wasn't punishment enough, considering they're not punishing anybody else in that photo.
Sounds
they
like
over-punished, they over-prosecuted, they were overzealous, they were corrupt, they engaged in unethical and criminal conduct, and not one prosecutor, Frank, nobody involved in this corrupt prosecution has yet to be held accountable. That is a bigger problem than any of this, because there's no bigger threat to our republic than a government that abuses its authority and weaponizes the criminal justice system to target its civilians illegally and attempt to take their freedom and their liberty through a corrupt process.
Very scary.
This is absurd.
Very scary.
That's why the Secretary of the Navy had to go, and that's why Admiral Green should go as well.
Well, you can read all about it from his own hand on Newsmax.com. Bernie Kerik has an article on there right now. Go check it out at Newsmax.com. Make sure you stay tuned to Newsmax TV, because we're here every day from noon to 2 Eastern. Commissioner Kerik, thank you so much. And when the justice system doesn't do what it's supposed to, we need great patriots like you to go in there and fight for those who are being harmed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So, Frankie, you land another monster interview right on the day of the breaking news. We have the guy himself. You think he seems to be winning lately? I know you wrote an article on Newsmax calling for him to be the head of the federal correction.
That's right. People can check that out. It's still on Newsmax.com, or they could go to my Facebook page.
They should.
At Facebook.com/Morano fan. But you can bet there is another side of this view, this whole debate, and that other side will be aired up next when Josh Kravitz, who is a Democratic leader here in New York City, will mix it up with Rich Valdez, who is certainly no stranger to outspoken views of his own. Can't wait to hear what they have to say, not only about this story, but about Mike Bloomberg's official entry into the presidential race over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Are we going to start talking about Bloomberg all the time now?
Well,
he's spending $30 million. Should we be giving him earned media? He's not even going to be in the debates.
Hey,
we can't even hear from him.
It's news.
He's to me, he's lower than Tom Steyer right now.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, Mike Bloomberg is a genius. He's a financial genius. He's played a very moderate mayor here in New York, but did flash his lefty chops often. So I'm joking around about him, but the guy's a legend. And I guess if he's going to put his money where his mouth is, we got to.
He's got a lot of money.
That's for sure.
To put there.
So we'll keep you posted on that. Did you see the guy playing him on Saturday Night Live now?
Fred Armisen. Wasn't
Yeah,
it? Wasn't it Fred
I know.
Armisen?
I'm saying he's perfect. He came
He
in
was
with
great.
that 2 big gulps. It was hysterical.
That was funny.
Good stuff. I mock them when they're mean, but you got to give them credit where credit was due. That was great. Joe Biden was played by Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that.
Woody
Harrelson
I heard
that
was
funny.
great. But all right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this on a Money Monday, and we are going to mix it up with Rich Valdez and Josh Kravitz right here on Liquid Lunch. You stay right there. Quick break, back after this.